Hi all, Sarranuva here, and I'm back again with another video. With Dragonflight launching in December with luck, there's still plenty of time to make sure you're in the best position possible to make gold when the expansion launches. But what does that mean exactly? When you speak to people looking to make their first million gold or even their first gold cap, most of them don't like to hear this. But to make gold, you actually need to spend gold. So when I say that you need to be in the best position possible, I mean making sure you've got a solid stack of gold ready to play with, as well as having an army of crafters ready to spring into action and start filling the needs of the many. In today's video, I'm going to focus on how to get your house in order with a spring clean, whilst also discussing ways I'm adding over 50,000 gold per day to my funds in preparation for Dragonflight. Before I get into the ins and outs of how I do this though, please like this video and subscribe to the channel using the buttons below so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I also recommend that you join my Discord as well. Some great information in there at the minute. To make this video easier to digest, I thought I'd break it down into several sections. House cleaning, gold making, alts and add-ons. Firstly, I'm going to talk about house cleaning and making sure your characters are in the best shape possible. If you're like me and you're a grade A hoarder, then your banks will be absolutely horrific, full of stuff that's several expansions old and is of no use to you whatsoever. Following the auction house merge for materials and consumables several weeks ago, there's been a huge increase in the opportunity to sell old world materials to a wider pool of prospective buyers. This is why you should be emptying those old reagent banks, because you will have materials that you can now sell that are worth more or are worth more as a vendor item. I made tens of thousands of gold on each of my alts doing this in the past week, and I would recommend that you do the exact same. Similarly, you should be emptying your bags of armour, weapons and trinkets, things that you've got no use for and are just clogging up your bag space. Same with your bank space as well. You're going to need some very clear bags if the beta is to be believed as well, so get clearing out right now. This one is more in line with one of the suggestions later in the video, but you should be looking at funneling your reputation tokens to characters who can either use them or buy transmog for them. I'm talking about things such as sand-worn relics and excess anima from Shadowlands. There are also things like archaeology fragments, etc. It ties in with emptying your banks of excess items, but why not do it for your benefit as well? Secondly, I want to talk about how to make as much gold as possible in the next 3 months. Depending on how much time you have on your hands and how many alts you have, I would recommend doing 2 things every single day: call-ins and command tables. By focusing on completing call-ins, you'll be able to prioritise the world quests you can do, ones that return gold are always worth it, as well as the thousands of gold you receive for each of the call-ins as well. Command tables are also something that I'll cover later in the video, but make it part of your gold making routine. I covered this approach in a video several years back. Check out that thumbnail. And it still stands today. Prioritising the command tables to return gold missions is something that won't exist in Dragonflight, so you might as well capitalise on this now and add to that stockpile of gold that you're going to need. As for weekly events, I would make sure you're at least doing the 3 world bosses. You have the constant Zereth Mortis and Korthia bosses, Antros and Morgeth respectively, but you also have the Shadowlands world bosses that can become fated and drop higher eye level than before. Ultimately though, you're wanting to do these for the gold and the anima to fuel your command tables. If you have time, then run the fated LFRs as well. These will give you a couple of thousand gold for each wing, as well as anima that will come in handy. The additional benefit is potentially giving you an eye level boost as well. You're going to need to be as strong as possible in Dragonflight to start that leveling process, so this is always a great side benefit. As I mentioned earlier though, the region-wide auction house has launched, and this means your potential to sell current materials and consumables is higher than ever. Whilst taking care of profitability, I would still recommend creating flasks and utility potions, as guilds are still raiding mythic fated raids, as well as individual players still going for that Season 4 Keystone Master. I would avoid enchanting, cooking and inscription though, as they are just simply not worth the time due to the lack of profit, unless you've got an account that's going to be AFK, watching Netflix or something on the other monitor, and you can craft these items in the background. Obviously not enchanting, please fix that Blizzard. If you're more of a gatherer though, then I would continue as you were. You're going to sell your stock instantly. If there's nothing in the game that you're doing and you're simply like flying around and herbing or mining, then this is the time to capitalise on that. Thirdly, I want to talk about alts and why you shouldn't neglect them. I say this in every prepare for the next expansion video, but seriously, get your alts max leveled so you're not having to play catch up or delay leveling when the new expansion starts. It's going to be nothing worse than wanting to level a character in Dragonflight because it's the meta and you realise it's level 40. This can be done through dungeons primarily, but Krakenlatte on Twitter estimates that around 4 hours per character is all you're going to need if you're questing through Treads of Fate, or you could wait until Chromie comes out in the pre-patch. Personally, I prefer the dungeon route if you can level a class as a tank or a healer, as it just makes it infinitely easier and faster. The benefit of this is that when you start Dragonflight, you can do the first couple of intro quests per character, and then start some of your crafting professions or start gathering materials if you're a gatherer. Small quick wins for making some gold early on. This is one of the best pieces of advice I will ever give someone who's looking to make gold. That's why it's buried in the middle of the video, so if you've made it this far, I thank you. If you already have a crafter maxed out, you might be missing out on previous expansion specialisms that can be making you a ton of money right now. Some of the items these produce are still server locked, so if you can go back and learn old world profession specialisms, then you can be entering an untapped market or uncompetitive market. Prime example of this is leveling Mists of Pandaria dual crafting. This will give you access to the Panther mounts that sell for roughly 20 to 30,000 on my server, but can sell for much more on others due to them still being sold at the server level. However, one that isn't server locked is Alchemy's TBC transmute specialisms. It can still be used to proc transmutes for high demand items such as living steel. This is where you stand a chance of producing 1 to 5 additional items for that one craft. This is a money making machine right now due to the low cost of materials. As I mentioned earlier, command tables are a great source of passive income, but you can maximise this by setting your alts up with one of their very own. I won't go into detail in this video as there is a fantastic video by Zanzaful that I'll link above, but you can easily set up a little army of alt tables that can create hundreds to thousands of gold for you daily. This is through the prioritisation of gold rewards and raw materials. Lastly, I wanted to talk about add-ons. Several UI changes are coming in Dragonflight, including an editable HUD, so long-standing add-ons such as Bartender might not be needed anymore. I would take this opportunity to also go through your add-ons and see which ones are not needed, paying particular attention to add-ons that allowed you to complete old content. Things that you might not need anymore. I'm thinking Zereth Mortis Puzzle Helper, a Camel Spotter, or even Lucid Nightmare Helper. Just add-ons that are causing bloat in your add-ons folder. Finally, I would take this opportunity to review your TSM groups and operations. It's so much easier to regroup items in the latest TSM that you can easily create a subfolder structure that makes more sense and is more in line with cancel scanning quick posting of subgroups. I did a video on that. I also created some groups in my last video about battle pets, so have a little look to see how clean these can be made. Ahead of Dragonflight, I will be working on my own groups and I will be more than likely releasing these free of charge, so you can guarantee that they'll be organised as well, so please keep an eye out for those. And that's it. A longer than usual video on how to prepare for Dragonflight. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, then you can support me by subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss out on any upcoming videos as well. If not, please let me know in the comments below so I can continue to improve them. What didn't you like? What do you think was missing? What didn't I answer? Any feedback is feedback and I love that. In the meantime, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.